Hey guys, this is Shannon with Nearly Organic Noshing, and today we are going to make two items. We are going to make deviled eggs and egg salad because essentially it's the exact same ingredients in both of them. It's just how you prepare them. So I have boiled eggs right here. Now I am only going to use the pretty eggs for my deviled eggs. The ones that look like this and have blowouts, those are going to be egg salad. So I'm going to go through and pick my nicest eggs. Okay, so I have 8 eggs here, and you can cut them different ways. You can cut them in the middle like this. I prefer to cut them lengthways like this. Okay? Now I'm going to take my yolk and I'm going to put it in a bowl. And then a little trick to make them lay flat is to shave a tiny little bit off the back of the egg, and then when you set it on the plate, it sits flat. And I just take that little tiny bit of egg and I just put it in with the yolk. So I'm going to do that with each of them. And try and cut them as evenly as possible, but they don't have to be perfect. You're just going to eat them, so they don't have to be all fancy or anything. So just continue doing it. That one doesn't need to, until you have them all cut and separated. Okay, so I have my piles of the egg whites, and then I have my yolks over here. Now, depending on how fancy you want to do them, will depend on how you smush these up. You can whip them up with a blender with your mayonnaise and salt and pepper until they're a super smooth consistency. You can put them into a Ziploc bag, cut the corner, and then squeeze them out like you would icing and fill the inside up and make them all pretty. You can do that. I'm not going to do that tonight. Tonight I am just going to get a fork, and I am going to cut all these up, and if anything doesn't smush up easy with a fork, then I'll take my knife and cut it up super tiny. And I'll show you what it looks like once it is all smushed up. Okay, I have my yolks pretty smushed. I'm not worried about them being all perfect or if there's a couple little lumps here and there. If you're worried about that, you can take the whites and you could add this into your egg salad bowl if you wanted, but I'm not worried about that. So I have my egg yolks here, and then this is going to be a super simple basic recipe. There are so many ways to jazz this up. Some people like onion powder, garlic powder, fresh onion, celery salt, celery seeds. This is going to be just the basic recipe. So I'm going to put some mayonnaise in, and you kind of just have to figure out how much mayonnaise you're going to need for how many eggs. So this is probably between an 1/8 and a 1/4 of a cup, okay? And then to that, I am going to salt it well and add some pepper. Some people like adding mustard into it. Some people like adding relish into it. This is just basic deviled eggs. Once you get this down, you could start playing with the flavors and trying it out and doing other things. But this is just basic, plain old deviled eggs the way you guys get it home, or at least in our house. And when I am in a hurry and I am just making deviled eggs. So you're going to get this all mixed up really, really well until it is pretty smooth and mixed together really well. Okay, I have my yolks pretty smushed. I'm not worried about them being all perfect or if there's a couple little lumps here and there. If you're worried about that, you can take the whites and you could add this into your egg salad bowl if you wanted, but I'm not worried about that. So I have my egg yolks here, and then this is going to be a super simple basic recipe. There are so many ways to jazz this up. Some people like onion powder, garlic powder, fresh onion, celery salt, celery seeds. This is going to be just the basic recipe. So I'm going to put some mayonnaise in, and you kind of just have to figure out how much mayonnaise you're going to need for how many eggs. So this is probably between an eighth and a quarter of a cup, okay? And then to that, I am going to salt it well and add some pepper. Some people like adding mustard into it. Some people like adding relish into it. This is just basic deviled eggs. Once you get this down, you can start playing with the flavors and trying it out and doing other things. But this is just basic, plain old deviled eggs the way you guys get it home, or at least in our house. And when I am in a hurry and I am just making deviled eggs. So you're gonna get this all mixed up really, really well until it is pretty smooth and mixed together really well. Okay, so I have my yolk mixture super blended and incorporated. Some people even like to use a hand blender or an immersion blender. I just use a fork and smush it up. Unless you want to try and pipe it in, then you really don't need more than that. Now, I do like to use a small spoon. You can use a teaspoon, but you don't have to. You can use whatever you have. And all I'm going to do, and I have an egg plate here, but you can use a regular plate. By cutting the bottoms flat like that, see, they'll sit flat. You don't have to put them in here. That's just a tip that if you don't want them rolling around your plate to do. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to fill my egg. Okay? And mound it up. It's not pretty. It's not all piped in there, but it's in there. And I'm just going to go down my stack and fill each of my eggs. Okay? And I'll come back when I have them all filled up. Okay, so now we have our eggs all on the plate. I had a few extra, so I just put them in the middle. If you do not have enough to fill up the middle and you just want it to look nice, you could put some pickles or some olives, sliced up some cucumbers and cherry tomatoes, something to fill in the middle to make it pretty if you have an egg dish. If you don't, you just put them on a plate. And then what we like to top it with is paprika. This is smoked paprika. You can use regular paprika if you want, but I am just using the smoked paprika. And I'm just going to sprinkle it on the top just to make it look nice and to give it a little bit of pop of flavor and color. Okay, there we have it. Basic deviled eggs. Jazz them up if you want. Add some crushed hot pepper flakes. Put a little piece of a pickle or a black olive or a green olive in the middle. You can do like the spider deviled eggs for Halloween. There's so much that you can do with deviled eggs. Just take your basic recipe and then play around with it and find what you really like. But these guys are going to go in the fridge until dinner, and then they are going to be gone like that. And now I'll show you how to make egg salad. Okay, now I am going to make chunky egg salad because that is what we like. If you like a super smooth egg salad, then you can run it through a food processor, or you can get a potato masher out, or you can just keep smushing and smushing, or you can use a blender, whatever you want. But we like ours to have texture, so I'm just going to do it like this. I'm just going to take my egg, and I'm just going to cut, and then I'm just going to start cutting them up into little pieces like this. And they don't have to be perfect, they just have to be chunked up. Egg yolks, like these are ones that weren't pretty, they fell out of the egg. So I'm just going to cut them up, and it's going to be messy. If you want, you can use a cutting board and cut them on a cutting board if you like. I'm just doing it like this. And once you have all of your eggs cut up, I'll come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so here are what your eggs look like. They are all super rough cut. Like I said, if you want a smoother consistency, you can use a blender. You can run them through a food processor, whatever you want. We like it like this. And we also use real mayo. You can see. This is the olive oil mayo. Some people like Miracle Whip, but this is what we use, the olive oil mayo. And I'm gonna put a couple of nice spoonfuls in, okay? To that, I'm going to add pepper, a nice dose of pepper, okay? And then I'm gonna add salt, a really good dose of salt. And paprika. Are we seeing a trend? Same ingredients that we just used for the deviled eggs, we're gonna put into our egg salad. Now, you can change it up. You can add some powdered ranch in here. You can add dried seasoning. You can add chives. You could add Mrs. Dash. You could add whatever you want. You can add mustard. You can add relish. You can add onion. Whatever you want to jazz this up. But this is the way my kids like it. And we either eat it on, just bread and make egg salad sandwiches, or you can eat it with crackers, or you can eat it with vegetable sticks, cucumbers, celery, whatever you want. And then you're just going to blend it until you get it to the consistency you want. If you want to chop it up just a little bit more, but you don't want to have to break out the blender or something like that, then all you need is a large fork, or you can even use a potato masher. Potato masher works really, really well also to cut up those larger pieces. So I'm going to get this super blended and then just show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, and for those of you that don't know what a potato masher is, this is a potato masher, okay? They have all different shapes, sizes, colors, but it's basically something that has either holes or something in the bottom, and you just smush through. Can you see the eggs smushing up through the holes? So you get a more uniform consistency. And this is about where we like it. So, you see that? It's all smushed up, but there's still chunks of egg in there. And now we'll just put it into an airtight container and put it in the fridge. Alright guys, I hope this was helpful, and I want to see pictures of egg salad and deviled eggs. Alright guys, have a good night.